Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for our Sage construction webinar. We will be starting in just a few moments. We're just waiting on a few more people to join. Just a friendly note, the lines will be muted. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat box and we will have time at the end of the webinar to answer them. So hang tight, we'll be starting in just a few moments. Thanks.
Matt, can you hear me okay as well?
I can, yep.
Okay, great. So if I start to fade or get crackly, let me know, and we'll see if we can solve that problem. Great. So we'll just start in about 2 minutes. I'll kill some time here. Have you got an intro to do, Matt, or did you want me to go right into it?
Yeah, so guys, who's speaking right now is Luke Thackray, our director of the construction division, and he's going to run through the Sage construction software for us. And I guess, Luke, whenever you're ready, just take it away and we'll go into it. And again, just a friendly reminder, like I said, any questions, please type them in the chat box. We will not unmute the lines. Thanks. Go ahead, Luke.
Great. All right. Thanks, everyone. So today is really intended to give you guys a really high-level overview of what Sage can do in the construction marketplace. There's lots of people who don't even know Sage has two great construction products, Sage 100 Contractor and Sage 300 Construction. And you know what? Everybody does something different. We have a wide range of people on the call. We have home builders, we have GCs, specialty service, developers. So I'm going to keep it really high level, really generic. I'm going to focus on the things that I think that people really are looking for. So it's going to be the reporting. It's going to be able to exception reporting, to show you the dashboards, to be able to show you how we can stop you double paying a contract. So I won't be going to entering a GL entry, reversing a cash receipt, but I'm going to save that for another day. Let's spend about 45 minutes going through this system at a high level, pick out 2 or 3 things, hopefully, that really are interesting. At the end, I'll give you a breakdown on price and functionality per price. And then you can say, yeah, is this product really a good fit for us? Yeah. Economically, is it? Yeah, I can see the value. I can see how we're going to save time and how we're going to save money. In the end, it's a tool. And the tool's got to be effective, and it's got to be worth the dollars that you're spending. So I'm going to show my screen, and you should be able to see the Sage 100.
Yeah, we
desktop.
can see it.
Flipping around. Sorry. All right. So I'm going to focus today on Sage 100 Contractor. Sage 300 Construction is a similar functionally product. It has a few other options right off the bat. If you are a developer, if you are somebody who needs a lot of intercompany transactions, if you have more than 7 or 10 techs in the field, you are going to be looking at Sage 300 Construction. Most of the people that we're dealing with in Canada, and we are, of course, in Canada, we're in Ontario, just Mississauga. Most of our customers are between 10 and 60 to 70 million. That's a sweet spot. They're looking at Sage 100 Contractor because it does everything in a simplified manner. It does so with very little training, and it's very easy to customize to meet what you want to do. So let me give you an example of what we're going to get out of the system day one. So if I say, Luke, or you say, Luke, show me, I bought this yesterday, I installed it this morning, what can I get out? What kind of job cost reports am I going to expect to see? And to be honest, most people are doing the job cost reporting in Excel or not at all. So here's 140 reports that are out of the box. I can customize, I can schedule it, I can set it up so that every morning I get this report sent to me via email. I don't need to come into the office. I don't need to call somebody up and say, hey, how are we doing? I can have this at my fingertips and proactively. So when I look at this report, this is a very generic standard construction report. I'm going to run this one, and I'll show you some of the other ones. I can run it, different versions of it. I can actually put filters on it, export it out to different formats. I'm going to run it to screen because what I like about this is that I'm actually able to come in and take a look and actually drill down and say, okay, here's a cost here. Let's see what this is about. $100 over budget. How did that get there? And I can see it was a payroll entry. So what was that guy doing at my job doing demolition work? Okay, it was the owner's son. He didn't know what he was doing and he miscoded his time. Fine. I can fix that. So I can drill down on any of these reports to the lowest level. So as a PM or a construction manager, owner, I am able to see that AP invoice line that affects my job that was posted. Sure, I approved the invoice and it got in the system. But now my job costs are over budget. So I'm going back again and I'll have a look. When accounting is posting those invoices, it's actually able to help the system to stop the person posting if it's going to exceed the budget or the contract amount. So it's a great safeguard for misentered items or vendors or contractors that are just sloppy or lazy with their invoicing. So that's one report. Let's go, and again, I can output this to Excel and PDF, and I can customize most of these reports. So let's have a look at a job profit report. I can take a look at a budget report. Just dollars or just hours? It's up to you. Over under. Any accountants on the call today? This is a great WIP report. Gives you the ability to, at month end, take a look at my jobs. How are we doing at the month end? Am I over or am I under based on my gross margin projection? I'm going to take this, I'm going to key in my journal entries, and I'm going to be done. This usually takes somebody 3 or 4 hours to do without this type of report. All right, let's have a look at this one. For those of you who are general contractors on the call today, if you ever have to deal with subcontract agreements and managing contracts, this is a great report. So this is what people will send out as a statement with every check to the subs. Here's your contract with us, Mr. Subcontractor. Here's your change orders we've issued. Here's all the invoices we've recorded. Here's a snapshot of where you are with us today. Cuts down phone calls incredibly. Not everybody does this. Everybody would like to do this if you do a lot of work with your own forces. Productivity reporting and forecasting based on cost to complete or hours to complete. So from here, I'm going to say, yeah, my budget's this. Accounting says this. So therefore, the straight accounting math says I should be done 55.9% of my job cost for that phase. Okay, well, I'm actually done 75%. So I'm doing good. I can come in and do that for each phase or cost code, and I'm able to reproject to have an over-under. So I'm a month into a 4-month job, and the guys are giving me hours or, percent complete, usually the foreman or the super, and I can say, wait a second, this has gone sideways in month 1. What are we doing? We've used twice as many hours, and we're able to project out at the current forecast or trend what this is going to cost us. Hours to complete, kind of the same thing, much simpler, but just as effective. This is what I've given the guys on site. This is what they've used, and I've got my hours I can key in the system to say, look, they're saying now on site it's going to take this long. Daily field reports, we have a couple of versions. This is my desktop version. We do have a web-enabled time entry, service, work order entry. I can key in time. I can key in conditions of the field report. Anything to do with a field report, I can do that on the cloud, online. We're not going to show you all of that today. It's a separate session altogether, and not everybody's interested, to be honest. A lot of construction companies are quite happy with timesheets, but we do the cloud-based field stuff. Equipment, we do it. It's very simple. It's like a mini job. I'm allocating equipment to the job. I'm using the equipment on the job. The equipment is charging the job the time and cost, and the job and the equipment is recognizing revenue. I can depreciate, recognize costs, own, permit, plate, all of that kind of stuff. At the end of the year, I can tell you what it costs for me to operate and run that bulldozer, as opposed to, should I be renting this thing? Takeoff. We have a great estimating built into Sage 100 where I can do a takeoff with my built-in database of items and assemblies, and it's quite simple. We do integrate to PlanSwift, which is an on-screen takeoff, and it's very, very useful, very, very simple. Now, if you're a GC and you need 20,000 line items on your estimate, then you'd be looking at the more robust Sage estimating, previously called Timberline estimating years ago. And that has things like 40 levels of WBS codes, equipment crews, labor crews. It's taken the standard estimating up to the next level. So we do service work orders as well, and we're able to print off and it's in very basic preventive maintenance. If you have quite a few contracts for preventive maintenance, we would suggest looking at the Sage 300 construction product. All right, so that's great. That's what you get out. I can have those reports emailed to me, exception-based or on a regular basis. Let's go back and set up my job. So the first thing I'm going to do, no matter what kind of contractor I am, is I'm going to set up a job in the system, give it a name, give it a client. We can have multiple jobs per client as well. I have all of my job contacts here. I have dates here. Some of these fields you can rename, you can customize, and that comes with the systems. For example, I can rename some of these fields if they're dollar or date fields, and I can use them in reporting. These drop-down lists, these are all, anytime you see a little arrow there, these are all customizable drop-down so that you can add your own drop-down items. I'm going to look at my budget for this job. Quite a big job, but I can get this in the system for my estimating. If I love Excel, I can just stay with it, copy and paste it right from Excel. We have interface, of course, to PlanSwift, which brings the estimate in. And I'll show you a bit more on the estimating in a minute. All my POs are here. I'll show you what that looks like. All my line items are here. And I'll be able to show you the printout. Again, I can have different copies or different versions of this. Output this in different formats. I'm going to put my logo on here. I'm going to be able to save it. Now, this is the recorded committed cost on the job for my committed cost reporting. I'm able to issue a document, and now the system, especially in accounts payable, will be posting invoices against this purchase order. Same thing with subcontracts. And change orders are great. So I'm going to spend a few minutes here, because change orders is where everybody's supposed to make their money or lose their money. So I'm issuing change orders, even if they're pending. I'm not waiting till they're approved. I want to get them in. I want to know on the 25th what hasn't been approved, because I can guarantee that half of those unapproved invoices or unapproved change orders, the guys are working on right now, and they're doing them. So I want the visibility. So I'll put the change orders in, and I'll leave them as open or in review. I'll get pricing, and I'll be able to say, here's what it's going to cost me. And I might have 10 line items, 10 cost codes, 10 subs, 10 effort, 10 lines of effort here. This is my cost. Now, this is my charge out, what I'm charging to the engineer, owner, architect, whoever that guy is. I can see my gross margin. Not a great gross margin, but nevertheless, I've got visibility. I'm going to be able to print this off as a pending. I can also, anywhere in the system, log and attach emails from my email or documents from my server, like PDFs. So let's print this off. And the nice thing about this is it's going to give me a nice scope of work, but it's also going to give the guy that I'm sending this to a recap. So there's no mistake about what change order we're on and what the current value of the contract is. And we hope they're going to sign this. I'm going to come back in and say yes. I'll probably attach a copy of that signed document, maybe drag the email in, and then I'll change it to approved. The most important feature here, when I approve it, it's going to automatically update my budget. It's going to feed into change orders for subs and vendors. And most importantly, it's going to feed into my progress billing as a change order item. So here we go in progress billing. I'll flip over. I'll say, okay, here's my progress draw. And there's my change order. So all I got to do is come in and say, okay, bring my change order as new line items. I'm not going to forget. The system's going to bring in the right amount. I'm going to print this off in different formats if I need to. I've got my cover page, this is my draw, number 4. This is great. Standard stuff, holdback, GST. And then I've got my breakdown, which all supports my first page. And then I've got totals on my 3rd page. It's all here. You can customize this, and we can show you how. All time, we can do it for you. Built-in application right into the system, no Excel. Now, I still might print this off and send it off to the PM to do it on paper, and I'll key it in. But as soon as I approve this draw, it becomes an invoice, hits my balance sheet, AR as revenue at the job cost level 2. So you notice that everything we've done so far has been in Sage 100. So we're trying to shed those Excel spreadsheets. We're saying, let's do the RFI log in Sage 100. Well, right now you do it in maybe Outlook. And if someone says, hey, print off all the RFIs we got outstanding for this job, you're kind of going, well, I'll have to go through a whole bunch of Excel sheets and print them off. And I'll have to find them all maybe in my email. So being able to capture submittals, drawing logs, shop drawings, right in the system. It's not an online collaborative system, but it's very one-sided. But you'll send it out, it'll print it off, and again, all of these forms are printable. You can customize them. I'll get the answer. I'll key it in. I'm locked it down. It's done, completed. I've got a record of it. I can at any point print an RFI log off for the system. Completed, uncompleted. Not everybody's a general contractor on this call, so I won't, go too far into the document control. I will mention that we do have an interface to our own web-based document control, RFIs, plans room, submittals, version control, subcontractor collaboration, all of that. And that really is for another day, but we do have it. It's very robust, very sophisticated, and something that people in the field have been asking for a long time. So let's skip around here. I'll talk about the accounting. We do all the accounting that Sage 15, QuickBooks does. It's I'm not an accountant, but I'll say it's debits and credits. But we do holdback, and we do 58-teams. And in payroll, we do T4s and ROEs, and we also do unions. We do WSIB. So everything we do in each of the accounting modules is still counting, but it's also construction accounting. Credit card management, yeah, we do that. EFT for vendors and for employees. Not everybody here has heavy equipment. We talked about it briefly. This is an add-on, but if you do have more than 10 or 15 heavy pieces of equipment, it's a great tool. Estimating, another add-on, but it's a great tool for people who are saying we're tired of using Excel, too many errors. So I'm able to come in and I've built a little spreadsheet here, and I'll say, I'm going to add in an assembly, and I'll call it a ceiling light fixture, and you'll notice it'll populate a whole bunch of items automatically. I'll put I'll have the quantities here defaulting, and then I'm able to say, fine, I can fine tune it. When I'm all done, I'll be able to assign it to vendors, and I'll be able to say, these are the vendors I'm using for this line, this line, this line. I can even assign my subs. I can print off. Now this is going to essentially create those documents. It's not going to automatically print them because I want to go in and put some scope in it. But I'll basically say, now my job is mine, create the budget. Go ahead, issue all the POs. So it'll say, fine, how do you want to do them? And it'll ask you some steps. I've just saved myself typing all that information all over again. The system's really focused on one point of entry in one time. So my estimating is pushing down to my POs. My POs are pushing down to accounts payable. So I'm not rekeying anything in after I've keyed it in the first time, which also means you got to get it right the first time. All right, I'm just going to take a quick breather here. Matt, if there's any questions, chats, I can take them. I'm not looking at them online here. Is there anything that's...
At the moment, yeah, there's no chats yet. So guys, feel free to put some questions there in the chat box. But Luke, if you want to do a little longer, and then we can just wait. If anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Just interrupt me then if something does come up.
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay, so this is the estimating built in. It's an add-on, but it's completely integrated. So I can say, well, go ahead, show me, my breakdown by cost code. Show me my breakdown of cost by cost types. I do understand and appreciate that we're going relatively fast. We're probably not actually reading anything on the screen, but we're trying to just make sure we keep going to cover all the hot topics. All right, let me jump over to scheduling. We've got a basic schedule. If you're using Microsoft Project today and you like it, you're probably going to stay with it. If you're not using anything at all, then you're probably going to say, hey, this looks pretty good. I can live with that. It's a job-by-job schedule. And it's got some basic dependencies. I can have a successor and a predecessor and lag time. And if I change the date on the work order or a PO, it'll adjust the schedule for me. So the nice thing is, via the estimate, all this stuff is in here already, and I can use this for basic scheduling. It's not going to be a master scheduler for all my jobs, but it will do job by job. Service, I'm going to show you the dispatch board pretty quickly. I can set up, again, not everybody does service, but it is pretty impressive. So I'll come in here and I'll say, create a new work order for this guy here. It's going to say, well, tell me who the client is. Well, I got the guy on the phone right now. That's the client. And is it related to a job? No, it's just a regular client. I'll call it, leaking something. And I'm going to save this. I'll say it's a service call. And if the guy had an app in the field, which Sage has and wrote and supports, he would get notified of that work order. And he would see all the history for the client. He would see all the details. He could fill it out, put in the parts, labor, material, notes, take pictures, everything in the field, and it's all real time. It's not a synchronized at night. It's not something that's a third party. All of this is Sage systems. I'm going to move it to a different guy. The guy called in and said, you know what? We're waiting for parts, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to put it on hold indefinitely. Now, the nice thing here with this is that I'm not going to lose a work order. Once it's created, I'm going to run my work order report every day to say, show me all the incomplete work orders greater than yesterday. So I'll see what's still open. I'll roll them forward. I'll be able to track that. There's accountability in place now. There's also reports. Which technicians am I using the most? Who's the most profitable? We do time and material billing from here. It's very basic, but it works. One price for labor. a particular labor item, and I can set up as many labor items and parts as I like. It's all a big database. Sage 300, on the other hand, I can have multiple prices for the same part for different customers, or multiple prices for the same type of labor for different jobs or customers. So typically, if you have over 7 technicians in the field, you'd be looking at Sage 300 construction, which we won't look at today, but we can save that for another day. Inventory, it's very basic. Not everybody carries inventory or wants to, even if you physically do. It's very simple, just as the concept is. I'm purchasing on a PO for inventory, keeping track of the perpetual cost, perpetual quantities, and I'm going to allocate that out as often as I need to. I'm typically going to get a sheet in from the guys every week or every day, what they took out of stock and what job they put it for. And quite simply, my job cost will be a lot more accurate when I'm allocating inventory at actual cost. And I can bring it back from the job too.
So Luke, Whale, his name is, would like to see tax reporting and records.
Wow, that's tough. I'll show you. Well, I mean, I don't know how to run them. I'm not an accountant or a consultant, but we do all of the financial statements. And I'll try and run this one. I don't know if we have any data in this, but this is as close as I can do for a HST or GST report. And if you want something a little more detailed or specific, then I know that one of the consultants can pull that up as well.
Okay, great. So the next question is, can you show Chantel, her name is, what the final quote sheet would look like once you've completed your takeoff and what would be sent to the client?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be honest with you guys up front. Most people don't use the system for quoting. They use it. They will use it for deriving the data and the numbers. We do have a function here. It's called RFP, and I'll bring that up. But I'll tell you, I'm looking for it here. 1 second here. Request for proposal. Now, this will bring in my estimate that I've got set up. The issue is, it's not something that you can, pretty up that easily as you could in Word or in Excel. So what most people will do is they'll copy right out of the grid from estimating, and they'll copy that estimate in a summary format, and they'll just paste it into an Excel document or a Word document. We can develop a report, help you develop it, but every job's a little different, and a lot of times you're trying to hide things and show things, and even that's very different from job to job. If you have a lot of structure and you say, no, Luke, we always show totals by cost code, then yeah, we can, help provide that report and actually, customize a report right here in estimating to say, hey, here's the text, here's the numbers, here's the footer, here's our logo, and that will work. To be honest, we haven't seen people do that a lot. Most people will take it out. So this is an example of one situation where we do see people taking it out to a third-party tool.
Okay, a couple more questions came in. Can you demonstrate the timesheet system?
There's 2 timesheet systems. I'll show you the one based on payroll. And this is a basic time entry. And I'll be able to say, okay, here's my employee. And just like I would do it in payroll now, the difference is I'm allocating to a specific job and to a specific cost code. Now, as soon as I do this payroll run and I post the payroll run, the job cost is going to be updated with this specific cost code. And we'll also have the actual cost fully burdened with all WSIB and all of the other burden on that specific line. The other time entry, there's other versions of it we have, and I think you're probably thinking, well, I've got an Excel document, and you can copy and paste that in. We can do time entry by week. We can also do time entry via the web. And we'd have to set up another time to show that specifically. But that's where the guys in the field, whether you're a foreman or a laborer, key in time and hours to your job or enter your cost code. That's going to stay in the cloud for the week, and then someone's going to review it, prove it, and then it's going to feed into payroll, where someone's going to further look at it and make sure that it's correct from an accounting point of view or HR point of view. So what I would suggest is, if you want to see the time entry for the web, let us know. Send Stan or Matt an email, and we'll send you a link to a quick video of just the web-based time entry. And that'll give you a good sense of how it happens. It's very basic, and it works fantastic. We also have a service-based work order entry, a little more sophisticated, because you're putting in parts, you're taking pictures, you're putting in miscellaneous charges, and it's of a more structured data entry.
Okay, a couple more here. Will Sage 100 do ordering, purchasing, and tracking items?
Yeah, so when we order with a PO, we're tracking what we ordered from who, how many, how much, and when. And then when we actually do the receipt, we're tracking, again, same thing, against that PO, a declining balance as each AP invoice comes in. We're tracking what we got, what's left outstanding. So we can run a balance to complete on a purchase order by line. And we can see at the end of the year by vendor what we paid for on average for items, or we can compare what we paid for that item with one vendor against a different vendor. So because we're keeping that relationship right from the very beginning, what we asked for, what we actually paid, what we actually received, we're able to actually reconcile that at any point and get derived data from that to be able to make decisions about, hey, we've been buying the same product from two different suppliers this year, and this one's consistently lower. What's going on?
Okay, can you show it, Luke? She'd like to see.
Yeah, sure, let me see. I'll show you a report. Let me see here. Look for my back order report. Okay, that's for purchase order. Okay, let's have a look. Purchase orders. All right, here we go. Here we go. So here's my purchase order list. How many units, the part, ordered, price, extended, what I've received, what I've canceled, what remains. And there's a whole bunch of different versions of this report. It just depends on what sort order you wanted, by job, by vendor. And you can customize this as well. But yeah, we do that. Good.
Okay, great. So Worrell is asking again, A, does it integrate with Sage 50? B, what is better, Pervasive or SQL? And what is the difference?
Okay, so it doesn't interface with Sage 50. It does replace it. So these construction products, both 300 and 100, have their own integrated accounting. So it's not designed to be integrated with another accounting system, even though it's Sage. What was the second question, Matt? Sorry.
The second question is, what is better, Pervasive or SQL, and what is the difference?
Okay, so Sage 100 Contractor is now SQL, and Sage 300 Construction is Pervasive SQL, and it has a native SQL data repository. So the difference is SQL, the Sage 100 Contractor version, is actually very fast. You can have 10 years of transactions in here, and your reports are still going to run really quick. If you, with the Pervasive, you have 10 years of transactions and you don't archive, it's going to take a minute or two to run that report. So I would say the big difference Functionally, it's going to be timing. There's lots of technical differences, but from an end user point of view, Pervasive is going to take, if you've got 10 years worth of data, it's going to take a few minutes to run as opposed to an SQL database. What most people are doing now with Sage 300 construction, if a report is simply running a few minutes longer than they had hoped, they run that report from the new SQL repository that's synchronized with Sage 100, Sage 300 construction Pervasive.
All right. And still some more for you. Is there an app?
Good. Yeah, that's great.
Is there an app for smartphone to allow the on-site foremen to create a PO?
Yes, and I'm not sure where we are. That's something that's relatively new. So that's a new function that's come up with Sage Service Operations module, and I don't know where we are if it's completely finished right now, to be honest. So yes, the answer is yes, but I've got to check.
All right, and looks like the last question is. Wal would like to see the tax reporting and records in 100 Contractor, if you can show that.
Oh man, that's really, for a guy like me, it's really hard. I gotta tell you. All right, I don't. To be honest, I'm gonna really struggle here. So it could be quite painful to watch. You know what? For that one, and I appreciate where you're coming from. It may be better to talk directly with a consultant on that.
Okay, then
I apologize.
let's take that offline. Then maybe we can discuss further. And I guess there's two more here. Is there an HR management module?
So Sage has an HR module, and we can integrate that, for the client. It's not natively connected, but that's something that we can do.
Okay, great.
And if you'd like some information, then we can definitely provide that.
Okay, great. All right, so it looks like that's about it. Yes, we can send out the recording, as I see a question, to whoever would like it. Anyone on the webinar, we can send the recording to. Luke, is there anything else you want to show, or should we wrap it up?
Yeah, well, let's talk quickly. Let's spend the next 5 minutes about the most important thing, and that's, how much does this cost? So let's just take 2 minutes and talk about how it's priced. And, typically in round numbers, what it will cost to get it going. And you guys on the other end can figure out, okay, is this an investment that's going to make things more efficient? And I think that's what the whole presentation was about today. So let's say round numbers, the first user, it's going to be 5,000. Second user is 2,000. Third user is 3. Let's stop at 3 for math's sake. That's $10,000. And let's then say, well, what add-ons do I want? Well, the add-ons are things that not everybody needs. So add-ons are inventory, service, equipment, and estimating, and also down here in document control. So let's say that every add-on is about $2,000, just some are up, some are down. So we've got $10,000 3-user system without any discounts, and Stan's on the call, and he loves to provide discounts. Then we've got the price of training, and let's say we're going to take about 40 hours of training. So let's call it, $6,000 worth to get trained on the system. Again, much smaller number than the Sage 300 construction, where it's upwards of 90 hours. And then where the last cost is going to be what it costs to keep it current every year. That'll be 20% of the purchase, so 20% of 10,000. So let's go, $10,000 for software. It's going to be $2,000 a year for support and help from Sage, and it's going to cost about $6,000 to get you trained. So $18,000 will get you 3 users. Purchase software, it's owned. If we take the option of 0% financing, all you're paying for up front is the support and the training. And that makes things a lot easier. We do a lot of the pre-approved leasing, where the leasing guys are so good, you just give them the company name and they tell you whether you're pre-approved or not. So we have those guys working for us too. So that's the structure. Again, as you purchase more, the price gets a little cheaper. but that's sort of the sweet spot that we see. There's always 1 or 2 discounts kicking around that we can utilize at month end or quarter end. And if you need more options and more modules like the inventory and service, those are a one-time fee that include all the users. So $2,000 for, let's say, estimating. That means all 3 users would have access to estimating. Then there's the subscription or anything in the cloud, whether it's web-based, time entry, service work orders. That's all per month, and that's a subscription SaaS-based. Time entry might cost $5 a month per technician or for labor. Daily field reports, it's the same thing. We've got, it's a very economical entry point for the web-based solutions, which are Sage and built right in. So those are the different types of cost. If you think that what you've seen today, say, hey, look, you know what, I think we can knock off 5 to 10 hours a week of time and maybe reduce the errors and we can get this data quicker. So if you think that's something that you think can happen, then yeah, we'll give you a formal proposal. More so, we'd love to do a more in-depth specific demo with you so that if we sit down with you next week individually, we'll say, hey, Luke, we're a home builder. Let's see the home building reports. Or Luke, we're a road builder. Show us unit price stuff, and I can do that. So the next step would be take a closer look and get you a proposal and talk about, what the next steps and how we roll it out. I think that's good, though.
Okay, great. All right, so I think at this point we'll have to wrap it up, and any additional questions that come in, we'll just, you guys can send them to myself, and I will send you all an email personally, thank you for attending type of thing, and you can get the webinar link there. And then any additional questions, I will send them off to Luke and Stan, who can answer them further and take it to the next steps. So thank you again, guys, for joining us for our Sage Construction webinar today, and I guess have a great rest of your day. Thanks again, guys. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks. Bye-bye.